It's always advisable to check your gear before you head out on a shoot. You just want to make sure that you have everything that you need. So the night before is usually the best for this. Now, contrary to most TV instructions where they tell you don't try this at home, I suppose I'm saying do try this at home. And the main reason here is that just batteries take such a long time to charge that if you find out just before you're about to head out the door for your shoot that the battery's flat, or worse, you get there to the shoot itself and the battery's flat, well then that's it, you're scuppered. There's nothing you can do. So finding out as far ahead of time as possible is the key here. Consider getting a second battery. So I've got my battery fully charged in the camera here, and I've got my backup battery, just so that an accident doesn't bring me to a full halt. Dual chargers are available as well for most camera batteries, and these work off a power pack, the same kind of power pack that you'd use for your phone. So they may not get you a full charge the next day, but they will certainly get you going for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, a half hour very quickly. So pick those up. I think it's really helpful to have. You can charge those two batteries at the same time as well. So what are we checking here? Well, we're really just making sure that everything works. The settings themselves we'll do on location, so we won't worry about those specifically. So we'll set to shutter mode, TV on this camera here. That would be S on some other cameras. TV, by the way, is time value. S is shutter mode, shutter priority. Choose the 1/250th of a second, and then just make sure your autofocus works, and fire off a few shots. Now remember that this 250th of a second with auto ISO, with the aperture being used to bring in enough light, indoors at night in your house, you may not find you're getting a good exposure. Well, that's okay, because it's darker in the house than it is outside. So next day, in the full sunlight or daylight, you will find that it'll be no problem at all. Check that anti-shake. So the autofocus, make sure that's on. Check anti-shake is on. If it's on and you're handheld, it'll do no damage. If it's off and you're handheld, low light, pointing down into a dark alleyway or a dark doorway, you may find you've got camera shake, and that's just the shots blurred from your hand moving it up and down. That doesn't help you with feet, being blurred. We need the 250th of a second for that. But anti-shake, always a good thing for handheld. Just have it on. We're making sure the camera actually fires. Believe it or not, it can happen. Sure, 1 out of 100 times it doesn't work, but that could be the time you're ready to go out on the shoot. Format the memory card. Before you do that, of course, make sure that you have taken all those shots down and they're in the computer or up on the cloud or whatever you're saving them to, because it'll just wipe everything. Do have a spare card. So having a second card is great. I mean, a high capacity card is fantastic, but if you forget to bring it, if it's left in the computer or left in the memory card reader when you're out on your shoot, it's no good to you then at all. Make sure the battery is fully charged. You're looking basically to make sure that you have all the batteries, or all the bars, I should say, here. So going out with 2 bars out of 3, yeah, you might be okay. You might not. Not really worth taking that risk. So just look for those kind of little bars. Make sure you've got them all going as well. And don't forget that spare battery also. Consider using camera reset. So, basically bringing everything back to factory defaults. Here it's called clear settings, and I can go into clear all camera settings if I want. I'm not going to do that. And the reason I'm not going to do it is I'm familiar enough with the camera, with the settings that I want. Now remember that even if you do use the reset, it doesn't change any physical buttons themselves. They stay exactly as they are. You've got to physically move those switches. So it's the factory defaults, the user choices inside the menu system that get reset. Though be careful, if you've previously set RAW plus JPEG, for example, factory default actually wipes that back to just JPEG, because that's the factory default. That's how it came out of the camera, or it came out of the factory. So just be mindful of that and go back and choose your RAW plus large JPEG. And we want to do that because we're going to see, after the shoot, the RAW conversion, or the black and white conversion, I should say, from the RAW file. The JPEG, when we're using monochrome black and white will be permanently black and white, and the raw file retains that color so that we can play around with how they turn into shades of gray. Check the camera strap, that it's at the right length that you want. I'm going to be showing you how to use this as a wrist strap tomorrow, and I've already marked it so that I can start folding it on my wrist. So that gives me the indication of how far away it needs to be. Maybe minimize the logos. I'm in the habit of doing that, mainly is because I just don't want to be seen. Now, you might be reluctant to do that. You might fear it'll take value off the camera, or you want to show off that you've got an expensive camera, and why shouldn't you? My own personal view is that I just want to blend in. I don't want to broadcast that I've got this expensive camera, or just broadcast that I'm there as a photographer. And in some places when I'm on vacation, that might not be a good idea, telling all in the world, all in sundry, that you are holding this very expensive camera itself. So once you're happy you've got all of that, lens cap on, power off, make sure you do that. You don't want the camera on all night maybe and just running everything down. So put that in, put that away. I'm going to put away my charger, make sure that's all there. Pop in battery and memory card. So I can now rest easy because I have everything there. My brain now will tell my sleeping brain, no need to worry, I've got everything I need.